3, 2, 1. All right, greetings. So I saw that chess.com came out with a new robot, a new series of robots. This one's called 1800, rated the Rook. Now, I can't find my glasses today, and so I actually thought it was called the Rock when I first started playing, and so I was gonna make, some jokes and call it Dwayne Johnson, because I honestly thought it said the Rock. But now I see, oh yes, the Rook. The Rook makes much more gooder sense than calling it the Rock. I want to go here, but that's just the first thing I saw. But if it longside's castle, queenside castle, then it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so anyway, yeah, it is called the Rook, not the Rock. And oh, here's my glasses. Okay, so I like the idea of isolated double stack pawns. However, I don't like the idea of these two bishops versus two knights. But so my opponent has, I don't like two knights versus two bishops, but my opponent has double stacked pawns. I don't know. The D file is open, there's no pawns on it. I guess I'll just own it with a major piece. Bah. I have a feeling my opponent is going to try to come here with the Rook. On the G file, sorry. I need to actually call these out instead of just saying here. And then takes, of course I'll have my Rook that can take, so maybe I don't give a poopy. This Rook comes here. If this Rook comes in the G file, G8, the light squared bishop would be free to take the F pawn, however. So let me look at my resources. I'm using a Rook to defend a pawn. If the Rook swings over, my opponent's using a bishop. I'm tempted to come over here. Actually, I think I will. Alright, let's see if we can... Bah. So I'm in check. I could do this. This, and then, I could make it an end game real quick where it's two knights versus two bishops. I think generally speaking, all things being equal, the two bishops would have the advantage. However, the pawn structure plays to my favor. It'll be a race to get the king in the center of the board. Mine's on H1, which is terrible for me. I just don't know if there's any, let me clear this out. I don't know if there's any advantage I'm gonna try to dwindle this down into a nice okay, interesting. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but this is check, has to be dealt with, and then I'll take this. So then we got one knight versus one bishop. I think in this situation, the knight has the advantage because there's a lot of, here's the thing. You know what? This needs to be a big takeaway. You know, I know it's the bishop and the knight are equal, but you know what was eventually some say, well, the knight has a slight advantage, or I mean the bishop. Sorry. So let's play this out because it is going to be a knight versus a bishop in the end game, but with all the pawns, I can shut down a bishop a lot easier than you can shut down a knight. That's what I'm trying to say. So there's check. It has to be dealt with. Open my computer. And now there's this. However, I can't move worth a poopy. So I need, the biggest thing that I need to concentrate on is I need to get my king to the center of the board. This bishop is preventing that, so I need to look at alternative routes, and I'm also telling myself to stay off the dark square. So now I can finally get my king out in the action. I need to watch out for this, Mishigash. Okay, so the king side of the board is very well covered. The problem is the queen side. This is, if my opponent has any hope and they've got a strong position, I need to get over here and defend. This king side can take care of itself. My opponent's probably looking to come here. Dang it. So there is some good news, but how can I do this? This is an interesting in-game. Yeah, I know. Oh boy. Okay. So in this situation, you want your king on top of your pawn, and I have not got that to happen yet. So, oh boy, this is going to be tricky. Okay, so let me play this out. Boom, 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 boom. That queen. They queen. Son of a bitch. Okay. If I take... and I can go up, takes. What if this happens? Okay, let me see here. This happens. Oops, sorry, let me draw it right. Okay, so if before what? Oh, that's a bingo gag. Okay. Then I take. Oh God. Takes. Because the problem is, I'm going to queen, then my opponent's going to queen. I think this is okay to do. Not crazy about it, but I think, yeah, okay. I think that was the right decision. I see that now. Okay. This. My opponent's going to be going for a stalemate. So let's make sure my opponent always has a legal move to make. You know, that pawn situation was very interesting. I enjoyed that a lot, actually. So all right, I'm going to get rid of the last of my threat here. Make sure my opponent. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and pin that king to the back rank. And this is going to be it. Yeah. So we'll do a, let's do a review of this because I rode the struggle bus quite a bit, and I'm anxious to see what the review says. Okay, I don't think I really played that well. I think the computer's being a little generous. But, okay. Let's step through the actual review. I'm just going to go through this somewhat quick. YouTube's got this new thing called pause. If you want to slow down and look at something. Oh yeah, I wanted to see that. Okay. I talked about moving the knight, but I was really expecting rook takes rook. The knight guards the d1 square, but so went for the check first, okay, because that has to be dealt with, and then now it's clear to take the bishop, okay. And so their bishop is keeping me from moving my king, and now that I've got an escape route, I think my opponent says, okay, well, there's no sense in that anymore. Okay. You can see I'm trying to hurry up and get to the queen side of the board because that's where my weakness is. Okay. So here now it says this is going completely in my favor because I've got too much going on the king side, and I could totally swing over and defend the other side of the board. So, okay. Yeah, and then at the end game, you just want to make a box and then just make it smaller and smaller, and then trap your opponent. Okay, well, fun bot. I'll play it again. I'll play the black pieces next time, and yeah, So thanks for watching. Hope you found it interesting. And as always, have a great day.